Warning: the following video contains strong language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Yeah, I've been talking about this shit. It started with Ezra Charles, my pound for pound #1 overall. Even the greatest falls sometimes. So shout out to Earl Spence, man. You a warrior, man. And I'm just letting you know I don't want you to fight Terrence no more. I really think you should retire. Remember Sam Baroudi? That's who Ezra killed. Sam Baroudi was a vicious killer. Sam Baroudi is a man that also killed a man in the ring. Maybe a couple weeks before, Ezra Charles killed him. And his name was Newton. Oh yeah, Glenn Newton, 23 years old, out of Philly, a middleweight. Died Saturday at the hospital of injuries. Yes, he fought in Chicago against the future heavyweight champion Ezra Charles. It was in the 10th round. Charles knocked out Baroudi. And like this fight with Newton 6 months earlier, Baroudi killed the man. But his family convinced Charles to come back to boxing. Yes, Newton. He was a young fighter. He didn't have that many fights under his belt, but Baroudi killed him. Yes, 22 bouts. Lost by KO. Sam Baroudi, a killer. So we talking about brain damage. These guys don't play boxing. These guys are killers. They don't make them like this no more. So when you want to see Earl back in the ring, why would you? How could you? When you know what happens inside of the ring. Now, I told you in my last video, excuses are necessary. Fly out of a car if you want to and start back fighting. Ezra Charles was a killer. Terrence Crawford is a killer. This man was 20 years old and died in the 10th round with the left to the chin. Light heavyweight boxer. Died in the hospital 6 hours after he was knocked out by Ezra Charles in the 10th and last round of their bout in Chicago Stadium last night. He died without regaining consciousness. Physicians had diagnosed his injury as a cerebral hemorrhage, but decided against immediate surgery. He had been rushed to the hospital after firemen had failed to revive him. In the dressing room, the young boxer who had engaged in 46 professional bouts was knocked out for the first time last night. The first time when he went to the canvas under the withering attack of Charles, who was ranked leading challenger to the 175-pound title. Severe punishment. Charles dealt out severe punishment to the New York Negro. You see how they talk about us in the papers back then? It wasn't no political correct. Please. Niggas. Sam Baroudi. Yes, after smashing several blows to the body, Charles, the Cincinnati Negro who outweighed Baroudi 176 to 169, ripped a left to the chin, sending Baroudi to the canvas, to the edge of the ring. Baroudi, a former prep. You see this motherfucking shit. It's going so fast I can't read it. But the main thing is shortly after the 10th round started, Charles drew Baroudi into a position for knockout. He shot effective blows to the body before crossing the left to the chin, which knocked Baroudi sprawling on this back 47 seconds after the round opened. He was carried unconscious from the ring to the stretcher, to the squad, to the nearby firemen, however, failed to revive him and take him to the hospital. Charles, accompanied his manager, Jake Mintz of Pittsburgh, arrived at the hospital shortly after Baroudi died. Charles noticed Sergeant John Fay at the Warren police station and attended the schedule today. That was then. Barodi's death was the first this year. Although only last week, the life of Eddie Franklin, a Philadelphia heavyweight, was saved by an operation for removal of a clot in the brain after his knockout by Bill Chicken Thompson. There were 9 recorded deaths in the ring last year. and 11 listed in 1946. Listed among the 1947 fatalities was Jimmy Doyle, who died after a welterweight title bout with Sugar Ray Robinson at Cleveland. June 26, Doyle was knocked out in the 8th round and died later of head injuries. Other deaths last year. You see them, Tony. You see them, you can read them. You do the rewinding. I'm just here to report that boxing is a serious and dangerous sport. Now, after Ezra Charles killed this man in the ring, the family was shaken, but they came back to Ezra because Ezra didn't want to fight no more after he killed this man. But this man that he killed was a killer, and this man killed a man in the ring. This man went toe-to-toe with a lot of great fighters. Even though he lost, he went toe-to-toe with Ezra, but just succumbed to the skill and the superior nature of his boxing abilities given to him by Hiawatha and many other black trainers that you know nothing about. These were bare-knuckle boxing fighters that were training these guys back then. Different angles, different levels of fighting, different hand-eye coordination back then, different toughness, different chin power. You see the resumes. Resumes do matter. And anybody that say they don't, please. This man went split decision with Roy Miller and Aaron Wade. Split decision? Please, he just was up against a killer named Ezra. He was distraught by this shit, but Baroudi's family convinced Charles to continue fighting. And that's when he changed his style and eventually caught ALS. You can't tell me a man that has ALS and changed his style. Not pound for pound, #1. God bless the dead to all those that fell inside the ring. Earl, retire. It's nothing wrong. You're a Hall of Famer. You're a Hall of Famer. Yes, it's true.
I've been working hard for this money, so I got to up that fight. Live my life by day by day.